Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Disco Elysium. I realize it's been quite a while since I played. I just recently uploaded a video, but it was a video that I had recorded a while back, and just never got around to uploading it because I've been pretty busy. Recently finished school semester and then moved to a new place, and I'm finally getting settled in and preparing for the next semester. Also working on an album and playing shows and stuff. So now I'm back, and I would like to continue and finish this game with a little bit more of a regular schedule. And so we're back here, and we're in this dream where the lighting keeps hard cutting out right along here. But there's some like black oil and stuff, so let's go check this out. The disco ball. See if there's anything else around.
Do you remember the scent of your childhood?
Oh, it's me. Or it looks like me. I don't know what I look like because I've never looked in the mirror, but I'm wearing the same clothes. What is this?
What it says on the can, Harry. Answer the question.
I remember nothing.
Do you remember your wife's hand on your face?
In my childhood? I was left. You said who?
Do you remember the warmth of her thighs between her legs and in her mouth?
No. Tell me what this is. I'm not answering before you tell me who you are.
You know who I am. I'm the bad day. The one where you ask her, and then later in the streets wandering. It's the worst day of all time, Harry dear. And it's coming. She will hear about it on the phone.
Uh-oh.
Reality will turn into a grotesque nightmare. This will be the last thing you did to her. Tell me, do you remember the love of your life?
I was left.
That's right, funky baby. And you just stood there. One hand on the bottle and the other on your dick. Watching her go. Let it all be dragged away from you. Tell me, where are your friends? Human beings have friends, Harry boy. Where the hell are yours?
I don't want to come back.
They were only cramping your descent into the abyss. Now they're gone. 3 times gone and never coming back. All of it. You failed. You failed me. You failed Elysium.
What is Elysium?
Everything. The Pale and the Isolas on the surface. The outer magnetosphere. Burning, furious truth. 8,000 years of written history. You really dropped the ball, Harry. 4.6 billion people, and you failed every single one of them. You really fucked up.
I've talked to you before.
No, Harry. You were just talking to yourself. That's all you ever do, even in your dreams. And the act is wearing thin. The spots on the disco ball fade around you.
Oh, man.
You'll be back in those cold snakeskins in no time. sweating up the bed.
Stinky boy.
I can come back from this.
You're not coming
about
back from shit. Thrashing around in that high conductivity state of yours, bumping into things and acting like a clown? Who are you kidding?
I'm not. I'm trying to be good. Trying to solve this case.
You're trying to what? I can't hear you. This is just a word dream now. Jumbled up garbage. The pictures are gone. The bed rises to meet you. A thin, sleep-like state. More glass than velvet, grinding in your head.
Something is wrong. Sleep shouldn't be this bad. This dry, this unnourishing. There's something wrong with your thoughts. Some kind of new type of hangover.
But there's another type?
Oh yes, party boy. And it's worse than the one before. Just think of the shit you saw. Here it comes too. So soon already. A silent alarm goes off in your head like clockwork. Barely let you sleep at all. Time to get those clothes on, Harry.
Okay, limbic system.
Time to go to work in the shit factory.
No. Not the shit factory. And I'm back up. Take your time. Cool. Electrochemistry. Good going, buddy. I just had the most beautiful dream. Uplifting. Rejuvenating. Really? Because you feel even worse this morning than you did last night? What the hell is going on with me? You mean, why are you so tired, too tired, and down to even think? It is worrying, isn't it? You can't be a detective like this. Detectives need to be able to think. Why is this happening? It's just that your heart has finally pumped all the speed out of your system, Buster. Time to get some more. Don't do that. Stay strong. The hangover will wear off. You don't need to keep doing this to yourself. No, I can't take this. I'm not going to go looking for speed. Well, I know what speed is, but what is speed? Speed is a potent central nervous system stimulant. Blah. It kept you propped up all day yesterday despite your debilitating hangover. How else did you think you even got up from this floor? You got up from this floor because of a holy vow you made 16 years ago with me to wake up exactly 7:30 every morning until the day you die. Don't be silly. There was no vow. You were high on speed. That was the only reason you got up. You can't detect without it. It's that simple. Well, we're going to find out if we can detect without speed. No, I can take this. I'm not going to go looking for speed. Are you sure? Ready to live as this pathetic shell of yourself for days? Basically a week? Let's be honest. 2 weeks. Maybe 3. You won't make it. Half the town will be dead by then. You will be fired. That's a lie. I can do this without the speed. Half the town won't be dead. Suit yourself. Slow, sad shell, man. See how you do without your spark. Yeah, withdrawal is a bitch. But it's kind of similar. I mean, caffeine is basically speed. Maybe speed light, but it's still pretty intense. I know I have really intense reactions to caffeine. And I get immediate withdrawal symptoms if I have caffeine for 2 or 3 days in a row, which is not the norm, but it is what it is. Good morning.
Morning.
He gives you a quick nod. Looks like we can get to work at once. The union muscle turned up. He points to the mess hall doors. They look rowdy. We should talk to them. Why do we need to talk to them? Everything points to the dock workers' union. The belt used for hanging him, the circumstances in Martinez, my preliminary information. Which may, of course, all be wrong. But we still need to talk to them, and it won't be easy. What do you mean, rowdy? I mean, ungovernable. Martinez isn't exactly enthusiastic about the RCM being here. They prefer to be policed by the union. These men here. Men who drink beer for breakfast. There's talk of an armed wing of the union called the Hardy Boys, who are responsible for said policing. I think it's them. Are these the men Gart told us about yesterday? I completely forgot. He looks at his notes. Sorry, I had a rough night's sleep. It's them by the looks of it. Loud and nasty, just like the manager said. Find out who is in the union box. Level up. Fuck yeah. He crosses something out. One loose thread, less to worry about. And one big problem to replace it. There are so many of them. Maybe we should call in reinforcements? That would just escalate tensions. No captain would sign off on it. Solving one murder isn't worth a conflict between the RCM and the Debardeurs Union. In fact, even the death of 2 detectives might not warrant an all-out war, so let's keep a cool head, okay? Let's roll. One more thing before we do. He glances at the booth again. We don't have to talk to them immediately. We can walk right past them, continue with our business. Good. A power move. Purposefully concentrating on something else first. Yeah, streetwise. Zoom right past. Do it on your own terms. But aren't you curious to know what they have to say about the murder? They're in no hurry to leave. They think they own the place. Anyway, I leave that choice to you. Whatever you decide is fine by me. I like that. I like the idea of just walking past them. Like they're not as important as they might think they might be to us. We got other shit that's more pressing. No. You can't help me.
Just a moment, officer.
Okay, Lena.
And there's no public phones nearby?
She's agitated and keeps pulling at the frayed edge of her blanket.
The closest phone booth is down the coast. Sorry for the inconvenience, Mum.
He appears to be genuinely apologetic.
It's fine. I understand. Thank you anyway. Now then.
Good day, ma'am. Everything all right?
Please don't trouble yourself about me, sweetie. I was just hoping to make a call, but the Whirling's phone line isn't working.
Oh, that sucks.
The union office probably has a phone, but I can't really get there. Or to the phone booth down the coast. And Gary's phone is dead too.
Wait, what's wrong with the phone line?
The manager was vague about it.
She frowns. Why would he be vague? This is something to look into later. Ask Gart, maybe.
Lieutenant Kitsuragi, may I ask what you needed to use the phone for, madame?
To let the young woman who's house sitting for us know that we may be delayed. Morel, my husband, and Gary were supposed to be back on Monday night, but they're still missing and I haven't heard from them. I was also hoping she'd heard from Morel. Oh, forgive me for not introducing myself. My name is Lena. My husband and I are staying with a friend Gary just down the street, but I come here for tea when they're away.
Okay, I'll bite. Has your husband gone missing before?
That's just it. This isn't like him at all. He always plans his expeditions so carefully. But you have more important things to worry about.
She glances out the window toward the bay. That's true, we do have more important things to worry about, but, I mean, we can keep an eye out for him while we're investigating other shit. What is this expedition your husband was on? Just some field work, sweetie. Morel is a highly trained scientist. He and his assistant, Gary, are studying an extremely rare species of insect. But they should have returned by now. They were just going down the coast across the waterlock to set a few traps. He said they'd be back on Monday. She sighs. What could be keeping them? Wait, who's this Gary person? Do you trust him? She smiles. Oh, sweetie, it's nothing like that. Gary's as loyal as they come. I'd trust him with my husband's life any day. Are they in a rough neighborhood? There's a nameless old fishing village nearby, but we've never had any trouble there before. She stops, then continues, worried. There's a lot of crime around here, isn't there? I can't say it's the best part of town, but I wouldn't worry too much about a pair of grown men traveling together. Do it. Find her husband. This will surely lead to a cryptozoological mystery with that extremely rare insect. Some fringe science is exactly what's needed right now. Spice up that vanilla murder investigation. This sounds like police business. I'll help you find your husband. Are you sure we have time to go chasing after bug hunters just now? The lieutenant tilts his head toward the vigilantes in the cafeteria. I did suggest we play it cool, but just a little side thing. We'll do it down the line. I mean, I've got a premonition that this missing scientist is connected to our main case. He sighs. I sincerely doubt it. Still, I suppose it won't hurt to keep an eye out. Oh, thank you, officers, truly. I'll be right here if you come across any sign of morale. So your husband is some kind of scientist? Oh, yes, she says with a pinch of pride. Zoologist, a cryptozoologist to be more precise. What is cryptozoology? It's a pseudoscience that attempts to legitimize research into mythological beasts and urban legends. The lieutenant sounds unimpressed. That's one opinion, yes, and people are entitled to their opinions. She's used to playing off such insults casually, but they still affect her. My apologies, ma'am. I did not mean to undermine your hobby. It's not a hobby, dear. It's a subfield of zoology, one specializing in animal species that are so exceedingly rare that many assume them to be extinct or even fictitious. Searching for such species, called cryptids, is difficult and often thankless, and frankly, many scientists are too lazy to do it. Universities these days are rarely interested in supporting real research. She's completely internalized her husband's struggles. They are her own. Nice. Tell me more about Moral. Looks, character, your relationship. Oh dear, I'm not sure where to begin. I think I have all the information I need. What does your husband look like? Well, his expression is slightly grumpy, but his eyes are always bright and curious, like a small boy's. And his palms are quite coarse from all the field work, but he's quite gentle. It's always a challenge to describe the person you know best in the world. True. Let's try again. If I were trying to meet him on the street, what would look for? Oh, well, he's a bit shorter than you, but with a larger frame, and he has a longish white hair, usually a bit uncombed, you might say wild even. Lieutenant pulls out his notebook and begins jotting down the woman's description. One other thing, he'll likely have all kinds of field gear on him, even if he's not out in the reeds, you know, just in case. How long have you been married? We'll be celebrating our 16th anniversary this autumn. Her smile is soft. Not the most numerically satisfying anniversary, but I like the less obvious milestones even more somehow. How did the two of you meet? Via a dating agency, I'm ashamed to say. I was looking to get back into the scene after recovering from my accident, and he'd just divorced. We hit it off, and, well, here we are. She smiles wistfully. She's skipping over some important parts. Perhaps you'll find out more later. I think I have all the information I need. Let's move on. I hope I've been useful. Tell me more about this rare insect your husband is looking for. Oh, sweetie, it's fascinating, she catches herself. But I shouldn't bore you with entomological minutiae. Forgive me. Lieutenant gives you a sideways glance. No, I want to hear more about the insect. Well, she hesitates. It's a phasmid, technically, but... Oh yeah, here comes the interesting. Where other phasmids imitate sticks or leaves, this one's a living reed. It disguises itself among the reeds here on the Insulindian coast. She looks you in the eye and nods thoughtfully, hence its name, the Insulindian phasmid. Perhaps you'll end up co-discovering the phasmid with us, officers. I knew it, the lieutenant sighs. We're going to be chasing made-up insects with cryptozoologists. It's not made up, officer, I can assure you. It's simply elusive, so much so that most establishment zoologists doubt it exists at all. What makes you think the phasmid is around here? Well, some teenagers making out in the reeds saw one. They didn't know what it was, of course, but there was a brief article in a local newspaper about their encounter with a ghost insect that looks like the reeds. Gary sent us the clippings. So, a newspaper clipping is all the evidence you have? Of course, most phasmid sightings turn out to be false alarms, but their description matched the Insulindian phasmid perfectly, and they didn't even know what they were looking at. Enthusiasm has wiped the worry from her face. Her eyes sparkle behind her glasses. You seem really excited about this cryptid. I suppose I have something of a personal connection to the Insulindian phasmid. All scientists have their little hobby horses. Is it dangerous? She chuckles to herself. Not at all. Why else would it hide itself so carefully? Is it valuable? Oh, I doubt it. No one gets into cryptozoology for the money, sweetie. Does it have cool powers? Yes, it can blend in almost perfectly among the reeds. Her face lights up at the thought of it. It's how it stayed hidden all these years, centuries even. Okay, what's so special about the stick bug then? Oh dear, I'm afraid I'm not explaining this very well. It is very special. The woman's face flushes with embarrassment. Morel can explain it all much better. I wish you could hear him describe it. Then you'd understand, I'm sure. I not noticed this about me, but actually I have lost all memory of the world and myself, and I have no idea what I'm doing. Why would I say that? Suggestion. Maybe you could convince her to tell you about some cool cryptids. Sure. Yes, sometimes the most charming thing you can do is be reasonable in your request. Could you tell me about just one more interesting cryptid? The Insulindian phasmid was great. I suppose you could use a break, and I could use a distraction. Lieutenant throws you one of his looks. One cryptid, like you said. One. This can't turn into some kind of cryptid extravaganza. We have things to do. Okay, Kim. Just one little cryptid. Promise. He nods and assumes a waiting posture. Cryptids, cryptids. Let's hear about all the interesting cryptids. Whoa, tough choice there. What's the most dangerous cryptid? The Gnome of Jeroma. She pauses for effect. The Gnome of Jeroma. It sounds terrifying. Oh yes, none of its victims survived. Grieving relatives never even found their bodies because the gnome's venom dissolved organic tissue. Sorry. What did this cryptid look like? It was reportedly a small creature with webbed fingers and a protruding forehead, an ungainly little thing, quite scary to look at. A couple of campers found it when it was already dying. They heard an odd wailing in the woods and followed the sound. They were scared and wrapped it in a tarpaulin? Not sure what that is. To suffocate it. Is that just the long word for tarp? She looks at you, her voice grave suddenly. It still took the gnome of Jeroma an entire day to die. If the body of the creature was found, the lieutenant can't help himself. Why aren't there detailed illustrations of it in science textbooks, confirming the existence of this very lethal species? Alas, the first scientist who got his hands on the creature's corpse put it in a jar of formaldehyde, thinking that would detoxify the gnome's venom. Instead, all the venom leaked out of the creature's teeth and into the surrounding liquid, dissolving the creature itself. A poetic end, perhaps, but a real loss for science, she says, mostly to herself. This has been educational. Sadly, we need to discuss something else. Of course, dear. Yeah, we can hear more about the cryptids later, but right now we got a mystery to solve. Tomatoes are thinly sliced, or so thinly sliced you can see through them. Take this guy's money. Do you know what's behind that door? He looks up to you, then looks away quickly, shrugging and muttering something to himself. Shrugging is an international sign for no, I don't know what's behind that door. Forget. Is this just the bottle of rum? Yes. That sugary black rum stain on the counter makes you teary-eyed with joy. It's almost touching how syrupy and sticky it is. How long have you been up already? Not now. Oh, excuse me. Do you have something better to do than lust for sweet syrupy rum and lemonade with a twist of lemon, maybe lime, maybe who cares, just rum? Finish thought. Doing good. Alright, what do I got? Find Morel. These were all yesterday's. Still gotta find my gun, my badge. Keep searching for the collar. This might take some time. Get a hold of a sad song on tape. Find a way into the secret passage. Ask Kuno if he knows anything about the victim's clothes in the trash. First go to Kanema and turn on the lights. That I can do. Alright, let's take this a step at a time. And actually take a sip of tea. Good old Earl Grey. Alright, let's ask Kuno about the clothes. What's up, shithead?
Fuck, does Kuno care?
The boy turns to you. He doesn't care. I have more questions about the crime scene. The dead man's clothes were in the trash container. How did they get there? Yeah. Kuno doesn't know shit about that. That shit is beneath Kuno. I need to know. It could lead in the investigation. Or it could be a lead in the investigation. Someone may have tampered with the murder scene. Listen, listen. He stops you. Kuno just doesn't care about this small-time shit. Just listen. Kuno saw what you did there, dumpster diving. Sad shit. Kuno could hook you up with some sweet rags. Shit like Kuno's wearing. He points to his pants. Your size, good price, 500 real. You'd have to be blind not to notice the giant white letters fallen running down his trouser leg. Wait, I asked you what happened to his clothes. You must have seen them lying around. Look, Kuno ain't seen shit lying around except for that blank up there. He points to the cadaver. Now you want performance gear or not, Grandpa? If the game won't say it, then I won't. Lieutenant remained silent, but his expression couldn't say, "I told you so," any louder. No, Kuno, you don't know anything about the tampering I'm investigating, and I already have pants. Whatever, Kuno was trying to help you, but you're too fat for falling anyway, pig. Kuno, I found your shack. You found Kuno's secret door to Kuno's secret shack? It was closed for 5,000 years. How the fuck did you get in? I phase shifted through the roofing material. Shit, get the fuck out of here. You can't do that. You can't do that, Kuno. He's trying to fuck at you again. Pigs can't displace, can't do that teleport shit, he says to himself, then turns to you. How do you like it in there, piggy boy? Kuno's got a lot of cool shit there, right? Could I get into the harbor from the roof? Of course you fucking can. How do you think Kuno made all the docky boys as gimps? Just gotta fly, pig. Is that it? Easy? Is that it? Easy. Gotta jump to get in there at my age and my condition. Not everyone can fly like Kuno. You're old. You'll never make it. Kuno crosses his arms. Moose piss has made you scared in the head. That's all there is to it then. Don't be a pansy, just jump. What's with the pig head? Obviously a Lord of the Flies reference. Oh, that? He picks a bit of dirt from his fingernail. Kuno decapitates pigs. That's just a Kuno demo tape. Were you trying to send me a message of some sort? I don't think it had to do anything with me. Cool pig head. I liked it. I got one too. This one. Point to your head. It's shit. No. Demo tape. Like some kind of musician. Yeah, Kuno plays on snuff radio. Fucks pigs. Live. Fucks their head off. He ominously points to the shack. Kuno's a cop killer. Wow, you're so bad. So edgy. I found a plate covered with powder residue. Know anything about it? That's where Kuno gets his daily hit of electric. Kuno's Shazam. Kuno rides the fucking lightning in there, pig. Bet you'd like to ride the lightning too, wouldn't you? You feel tired and old. But you could have that sparkle in your eyes. What's with the tube of magnesium? It's a vitamin, pig. Don't you know anything? He looks at you like you just pointed at the sun and asked what it was. You could use some. It's magnesium, right? Yeah, it's the mag. You fucking need that shit to stay on top of your game. Kuno goes through like a tube a day, rips mag like a motherfucker, and you could use a barrel. Don't teach him, Kuno. He's gonna use it against you, Kuno. I know all about magnesium. I rock it all the time. No, come on, it's just magnesium. Don't mystify it. He looks at you, eyes bulging. You're not getting this, pig. It completely takes away the hangover, like you didn't do anything. Like you stayed home playing with your choo-choo. Fuck you, pig. Don't do mag. You're gonna OD and you're gonna fucking die. Alright, I've heard enough of this. Still can't figure your shit out. I'm off. I know Kuno doesn't fucking care. Alright, let's go look at this watermark. So we gotta turn the lights on and this thing. Inside, you see a set of steering levers. Kim, how do I turn on the headlights? Turns the preheater on, waits, takes out his keys, and says, "Alright, ready. I turn, you press start." It's next to the preheater. He's downplaying his excitement. The lieutenant is more than happy to show off his precious carriage. Press engine start. The dashboard lights up with orange glow. Rounds per minute gauges jump, and the engine of Capri's Kanema comes to life with a whiny growl. Damn, that was intense. Like a leopard, waking from its sleep, yawning and roaring at the same time. Press the button labeled headlights. Lights unfold with a little click, casting electrical light onto the ground before the vehicle. There you go. I'll turn them off from the remote once you're done. We just need to stand in front of the machine now. Okay. As you hold your ledger's clip under the headlamp, an iridescent hologram appears. The street grid and the veins of a great river, a familiar sensation washes over you. There she is, Revitrol West. There's a note of pride in the lieutenant's voice. Around the borders of the watermarks are dozens, no, hundreds of micro-perforations. Look at this shimmering street grid. The rectangular watermark is overlaid with the logo of the RCM, and yet the major arteries of Revitrol are all recognizable. They shimmer in the Kanima's headlights. Wait, look around you. A rat brazenly darts past you and disappears amongst the stopped lorries. In the distance, a child somewhere shrieks. A woman reprimands her in a voice no quieter than the child's cry. Ah, Martinet. He smells the air and says, "Where are we on this?" Point to the halogen map. "Let me see." He takes the ledger for a moment and inspects it. "Right here," he says, his finger near the top of the map. On a segment of coast jutting out into the great ocean. I'm sure I've seen worse. Oh yes, Coal City. Le Royaume. The burnt out quarter. Look at the perforations. There are many of them, and they are divided into 3 separate rows. Tally up the different rows. First row has 18 dots. What about the next one? The next is the longest. It runs all the way around the border and then some. Count them individually. There are so many it's hard to count. More than 150 at least. Maybe even 200. What about the last row? The last row has 3 perforations. 3? That's it? That's it. Hey Kim, what all these holes mean? Point to the dots on the watermark. Those are perforations. They represent your record as an officer of the RCM. They're your statistics, as it were. I should have guessed you could keep a record. Officers often do. Let's take a look. The first row represents your years of service. 18 years? Okay, not bad at all. What did you do before you volunteered? I walked the land telling whores and liars of the end to come. There are 9,855 days remaining. I feel like I just went around apologizing all the time. Maybe you're a diplomat or in PR. Doesn't matter. I suppose let's move on, shall we? This next row, the one that wraps all the way around, is your number of closed cases. Closed is good. Means finished. You've got, let's see. Wow, more than 200. Is that a lot? It's quite a lot, even for someone who's been on the force for nearly 2 decades. Usually clearing more than 10 cases a year puts you in the 90th percentile of all RCM officers. I used to be good. That's some solace, I guess. What's the last number? Right, those are your confirmed kills. You've got precisely 3 perforations there. So I'm a killer. For an RCM officer, especially Precinct 41, which is the Jamrock quarter, it's rather tame. I mean that in a good way. There are certain officers who treat their kills like some kind of ghoulish game. If they do happen to solve a case, it's usually by accident. It's obvious the lieutenant doesn't think very highly of these officers. But it seems as though you are, or at least were, one of the good ones. So we have that to be thankful for. Thanks for this. Lieutenant nods. Okay, let's go. Right, I'll go turn off the lights. He presses a remote control on the key. You can now see your statistics on your journal page, right of the task description. Cool, so I was a pretty decent cop leading up to this, it sounds like. Alright, let's start from the beginning. I don't know where to find the tape. Keep searching for the collar. This might take some time. It's unclear how I should go about finding a tiny piece of plastic. Maybe I'll stumble across it. Yep. Keep looking. Maybe somebody else knows something. Find a way into the secret passage. This may take a while. Ask Kuno what he knows about the armor. I don't want to go talk with him again. Use Kim's shortwave to run the serial number. Run the number. Okay. Alright. That I can do. Could you run a serial number from a pair of armored boots for me? Sure, officer. What's the number and the make of the armor, if you know it? E50.100.1000. The make and model of the armor is Fairweather T500VE. Got it. I'll contact the ICP database immediately. Call back tomorrow. Hopefully they'll have dug up something useful by then. Wait, what's ICP? International Collaboration Police? She seems confused for a second. They keep detailed records of all military technology produced by licensed manufacturers. That's one reason the moral intern spearheaded the creation of the ICP in the first place. Okay. I'm done with that for now. Leave that alone. What else? Call Alice back in a day. Ask around about the tattoos. Access the harbor and ask for Everett Claire's help. Put the advanced race theory idea into a free internalizing slot in your head. Then pass some time, and when it's internalized, return to Measurehead. That I need to do. Did I learn that though? Let me see. Oh, that would be here. Advanced race theory. Yep. Okay. So we'll go put that in place and talk to him. Through I owe them a bool. Center with your badge. Report back to Joyce. Smuggle raw ingredients. Joyce said there are 3 drivers at the intersection. Talk to them. One of them must know something about the drug trade. Okay, Joyce is that lady. We can go talk to her. Yeah. If I can remember how to get back there. I think she's all the way over here. She's on that boat.
You're back.
You're back.
Good.
Oh.
What can I help you with?
She takes a sip from her silvery thermal cup. What can I help you with? I spoke with the lorrymen at the roundabout. Yes, my eyes on the harbor have sent word to that effect. What have you discovered? We have discovered enough to conclude for now. Yes, and will you start an official investigation? Lieutenant is about to interject. Cut him off. This decision should be yours. I'm gonna let him handle it. If there is an investigation, it will be part of an ongoing operation, subject to confidentiality. I'm sure you understand. Of course, detectives, she says, her tone more cautious suddenly. In any case, you've held up your end of the arrangement. I trust you with the rest. Now it's my turn. I wouldn't normally break protocol like this, but the situation demands it. If you don't solve this murder, I'm afraid we may have a bloodbath on our hands. What was that about a bloodbath? Yes, I'm afraid this strike may descend into a small-scale civil war, with possible consequences for all of Revachol West. Since you're sharing, ma'am, this is also the RCM's worst-case scenario. Then we're on the same page, as grim as it may be. How are the lynching and the strike connected? I have an indirect role to play, I'm sad to say. My employer experienced a momentary lapse of faith in me. In that moment, they elected to deploy a private military contractor as an insurance measure. They called it my security detail. A momentary lapse of faith? They were dispatched after I relayed the union's initial offer. Every worker. A member of the board, she nods. I tried to convince my employer it was simply a piece of rhetoric, or a joke. They did not appreciate the humor. Did you need a security detail? Absolutely not. These mercenaries are muscle, pure and simple. They are meant to intimidate the Union into surrendering. Who are they exactly? Kreenel, an Oronhe's military company. As far as I know, 3 arrived in Martinet. They report to me sporadically, but they do not answer to me. To be frank, our relationship is deteriorating. They wear ceramic armor, have semi-automatic weapons, and years of combat experience. They also have trauma and stressor disorder, and no idea how to conduct themselves in an urban civilian environment. So what happened? The story is, one of them, the colonel, I don't know his real name, sexually assaulted a local woman while he was drunk and separated from his unit. This allowed some of the more militant Union members to subdue him. He was taken out behind the whirling and rangs and lynched last Sunday night. What then? Nothing. Mr. Clare refuses to let me into the harbor. I have not been able to discuss this matter with anyone there. The remaining 2 Krenel contractors carry out their orders for now. For now? It's a smokescreen. In secret, they are conducting an independent military tribunal into the lynching. Once this investigation is concluded, executions will follow. What is the nature of this so-called investigation? Whether to execute one, some, or all of the Union militants. I have to say this is not Disco. It is very far from Disco. A wave crashes against the side of her boat. My only hope is that you provide a single concrete suspect before the mercenaries indiscriminately pick theirs. Simply put, she grabs hold of the mainsail. If you don't pin this on someone good and do it fast, they will identify and execute everyone present at the lynching. This, in turn, will force the Union to respond. They would have to protect strength and power. The Dubradors have over 2,000 men. It will be 1,000 to 1. Have you ever seen a hornet invade a beehive, Lieutenant? She leans back. It's not pretty. These men work in tandem using semi and fully automatic firearms. Their armor is virtually impenetrable to muzzle-loaded weapons, even yours. Most Union workers don't have guns at all. She is silent for a moment, then concludes, as I said, a bloodbath. Isn't this a pretty bleak scenario you're describing? Many bleak scenarios have already come true. She looks at you, eyes damp from the wind. Nameless, badgeless detective of the citizens' militia. All we can do is keep the rest from going the same way. One single concrete suspect delivered into civil court, and I may be able to defuse this situation. What can you tell me about Krenel? Not much. Their public resume is relatively good as far as private military contractors go. I believe they were once called Downwell. Down a deep black well. They boast a long list of clients. St. Batiste, Welchman Lawrence, Indract. A warning sign, however. The operations concerned all take place in third or fourth world countries, guarding facilities, escort missions, and such. Meaning they're used to operating in war zones. Yes, all the good conflict corridors, Supramundi, Isat, the Seminoles Islands, countries that don't have a good record reporting atrocious military conduct on their soil. Okay, anything else you got on them? Sadly, no. Before this happened, I had little interest in them. Now that I do, I don't have the resources. If you still have access to the ICP's database, you could run a better background check than I ever could. It may take some time, though, she thinks. Do you know a lot about the inner workings of the RCM and the ICP, man? In my line of work, it pays to do your research. I was prepared to deal with the RCM, not think I would be dealing with a group like Krenel. Could you contact the company? Tell them to call them off? I have, and they will. However, these orders take time to reach what is basically a rogue unit out in the field here. Until they do, it's all on us. You said the deceased assaulted a woman? Or he didn't. She tilts her head. This is information passed on to me from some teenagers loitering around the canal. I cannot testify by it. Who did the passing on, then? The remaining contractors, their tribunal, is what they believe. What did these teenagers by the canal say? The man was killed because he assaulted a local woman. I've asked around a bit. This seems to be the accepted story around Martinet. Lieutenant consults his notebook, his eyebrows knitted in concentration. Odd. We haven't heard any reports about an assault in connection with the lynching. Where did it take place and when? Last Sunday night at the Whirling in Rags, the hostel by the gates. Supposedly the colonel was drunk, maybe on narcotics too. Oh. Either way, he's alleged to have sexually assaulted a woman. Sometime later, a group of dock workers got their hands on him. Who is this woman? That's a good question, officer. I don't have the slightest idea. As I said, it's a rumor. About a rumor. In any case, it's what the colonel's remaining colleagues believe. You'll meet her soon enough, you feel. This colonel, the one who was hanged, did you know him? If you mean did I see him alive? Yes, but I did not know him. Lely, his service name, a nom de gore, most likely. He wouldn't divulge his full name. Only one of them did. A bad sign if there ever was one. Tell me about the others first. One is a man, Cordy, they call him, a nickname as well. The other, a woman, Phyllis DePaul. Cordy is the gunner, I believe. DePaul is a radio operator. Lieutenant cuts in. What would you say was his eye color, the deceased? She closes her eyes, trying to picture the man's face, then shakes her head. I can't remember. There's a pang of regret to her voice. Ooh. Sorry, yawning. That's alright, ma'am. Anything else? Nationality? What would you say was his age? He was 40 or 50. It's hard to say which. He had a combat injury on his lower jaw, made it difficult to estimate his age or gauge his facial expressions. What else? Nationality, accent. He was Occidental, I think. Light brown hair, mixed accent, Oranese, or Messenian, maybe. His injury gave him an accent all his own. In a way, it was humanizing. He had to learn to speak through it, through the injury. She nods. That's all I know, I guess. I only met him once. Where are the remaining 2 mercs now? They've gone to ground, as it were. I don't recommend seeking them out. She puts her foot on the guard wire for balance. For one, they're almost certainly armed to the teeth. They don't have the same respect for the RCN as I do. To put it bluntly, they think you're vigilantes, ghetto savages. It will not be a fruitful meeting. Vigilantes? You're a professional officer of the only legitimate authority in Revachol. We still need to know where they are. You're likely to run into them eventually. When that happens, I'll be in a better position to mediate if I don't appear involved. Where are... Clothes didn't fit, right? Scab leader murder. Bad reply. Yeah, where are these mercenaries? One is obviously the scab leader at the harbor gates. The one chanting the idiotic slogans. He's barely maintaining his disguise. The other has a vantage point in the building south of the roundabout, where they're keeping tabs on you while you are canvassing the lorry drivers. One must be the goon in ill-fitting work clothes by the harbor gates, the scab leader. That may be so. I still hope you heed my advice. There's no need to kick the hornet's nest. For all your talk of averting this catastrophe, the situation at the gates is a powder keg. Does this not bother you? Of course it bothers me, Lieutenant, but my hands are tied. How would my employer react if it appeared I were intervening on behalf of the Union? Your concern may be appearances. Ours is keeping the peace. One is probably in a building overlooking the roundabout. That would afford a good vantage point, she says. In any case, it's practically inaccessible. Where is your radio for contacting them, if I may ask? Do you have an earpiece? Heavens, no, I'm not an undercover agent. There's a shortwave at the ship's wheel. She nods towards the captain, the sloop's cabin. I had another question for you. That's enough for now. What can you tell me about these tattoos? Of course, excuse my hesitation before. She reaches over the guard wire and takes the photo, holds it in her hand, for about half a minute, in silence. It is taken with a Trigat not long ago. This is the man's upper body. There were no more markings on his hands or legs. Stay quiet. Observe the woman's expression. Her mouth is relaxed. The accordion lines near her mouth vanish. The pearls of her eyes move slowly on the photo's surface. Sorry, she breaks her concentration. I was trying to see if I could read the web of interdependencies between these points, the stars. She points to one on the photo paper. I can't, but that's how you read this story. The points themselves don't have letters, numbers, anything. Their size, location on the body, and distance from each other tells you what they represent. Like stars in the sky. Close, she nods. Port cities. This is an Oranhe's map of the waterways. Sailor's tattoo worn by wayfarers of the DeLorean century over 300 years ago. The sailors would mark their bodies to map their travels. What's the use of this map? The sailor's soul would use it to fly back home if they should die abroad. This is a sort of contraption to be reeled back in by. The silver court, they would call it. Where is he now? This one is going nowhere but the morgue. I've spoken to him. For now, the soul is fastened inside his corpse. She remains unfazed. That is precisely what the sailors feared when they drew these maps. A fear of drowning within one's own corpse. What travels did the dead man make? Quite a few. Vredefort, the Oranhe's capital, traditionally stands on the right shoulder. She points to it on the photo. He started somewhere near here, I think. What next? Then he made his way to the Preto Grande, through what I think must be Stats Canal, an artificial channel through the Occident. From the Preto, he sailed to the Insulindic Ocean, first the Seminoles Islands, then this. She points to his heart. What is that? Revachol, she says. Those are the two constants, Vredefort on the shoulder and Revachol in the heart. They started the tradition of these maps right after the discovery of Insulinde, at the dawn of the Intersolar Age. Intersolar Age. Interesting. The old world passing by and the new world already here. You said you can't read it. I can't. This man was no sailor, and these are no ports. I can understand geographical fragments, but not their meaning. Who could tell me more? His platoon members? The other contractors? Though I do not suggest you go and show them that picture. This man was their friend and comrade. I need the information. Why is she trying to get me to not interact with these guys? Maybe they'll tell me some stuff about her. I'm gonna ask the mercs. I want their perspective on things. Do what you have to do, detective. I don't think deciphering that tattoo should come before public security, but if you should wade into the mob to find out, I couldn't stop you. We will be careful, ma'am. That's all for the tattoos. Thanks for your help. Thank you. That's all for now. Close. You need to find 20 real to pay for your room at the whirling, or it'll be locked. I think I have enough for that. Find smokes and smoke them. You need to get your hands on some cigarettes and smoke them for those massive bonuses. Find a pack, put it in your hand, and the smokes will do the rest. I mean, that wouldn't be too bad. That's the scab leader. Set off southwest across the canal. Start by going in. Well, I'm not going to go there yet. Let's go do this crazy advanced race theory. What's up with this guy? Okay. Save real quick. Go.
The unpromising race pupil returns.
I think I know what the race enigma is. And? Shit, let me into the fucking harbor. Alright, I'm gonna be honest. I don't understand this advanced race theory. This dump is ready to be superseded by the Areopagite superstate. I can serve as a clerk in your administration. Maybe you need a cup. I don't know about the rest, but it's clear I should stop drinking the ancient Ilmarin mind poison Al Ghul. That's true. Fascinating. The phrenologic lines on his face move like a puzzle board. The Revitrolian degenerate shows signs of racial self-reflection. How did you accomplish this little feat? It's always been 100% clear to me that the answer to the race enigma is I should stop drinking. I sobered up for 5 minutes. No. Yeah, it's always been 100% clear. So it would seem, Thrall of Ghul, I find myself at a crossroads. On one hand, this pathetic self-therapy has little to do with the great mystery of living organisms, the race enigma. And of course, you will not be able to free yourself from the yoke of Ghul. It is too late. It may be lethal to stop at this point, but still, he pauses in heroic doubt. Your willpower fires up, directing you to speak. If the Revitrolian degenerate is capable of critical thought, he may still prove a race adversary. Why should help my adversary? He looks at the red button, seeking counsel from his own ideals. Jean, baby, do the heroic thing. First of all, I will stop drinking. It is not possible. The game of Shah-Mat you play against the Ghul's tricks is unwinnable. The days, the weeks, the months wear you out. The Occidental haplogroup is incapable of long-term lucid thought. Damn. You're wrong. I'll do it. I'm quitting. Thought gained. Wasteland of reality. You cannot withstand the wasteland of reality. It's super hard, Jean. The woman looks at her fingernails. My mom couldn't do it either. Now open the doors. I need to talk to Everett about getting a bite. Very well. You may enter once. Oh shit. He punches the emergency button with his fist. Our conversation here is concluded. Well done. Kim impatiently gestures towards the door. Let's go. I swear if he shuts it before I can get there. Is this it? Every worker member of the board is written at the top of the flyers. Below the flyers, the union logo and demand democracy. This is a Dewey typewriter. The model name is on the back. A standard office file cabinet. The drawers seem to be locked. Someone left the coffee machine on. The dark liquid in the pot looks almost sentient. Gross. Cool. Postcard. Ooh, some neat office shades. And some magnesium. On second glance, someone has forgotten to properly close one of the drawers. It's unfortunate for the Union to just leave their paperwork lying around like this. Let's see what's in, he thinks. Open the door. Drawer opens smoothly. Inside is a well-organized selection of brown folders. I'm gonna take a drink. All this narrating is tough when you haven't done it for a while. The drawer opens smoothly. Inside is a well-organized selection of brown folders. Browse through the folders. Hundreds of documents containing logistical data. Two kinds of transactions stand out. Materials coming into Revachol from the outside world, from Mundi, Grad, and even Ilmara. And the same materials being handed over to companies inside Revachol. Kuron, Coal City, La Delta, and Jamrock are listed among the many districts where the imports are being sold. Anything interesting? It's hard to make sense of this thicket of company names, dates, quantities, and percentages, but you try to focus. But the lines are getting blurry. Force yourself. Go through the folders. Whatever's hidden here is hidden well. Concentration isn't enough. Only a trained accountant with a background in logistics would be able to really make sense of it. However, there is a little handwritten note stuck on the side of the drawer. Look at the note. It appears to be a to-do list written in large, uneven capital letters. Remember, Leo. Everett shoes. Special whirling borscht. Water Everett's plants. Sweep office floor. More banners. All items on the list have been crossed out and the note itself is crumpled. Look, Kim. A to-do note with the list of errands for Everett. Everett Clare, probably, the head of the Deverdors Union. He inspects the note. One of his aides must have left it. Nothing incriminating here. What is so special about this borscht? Code for drugs, booze, blood? Take another look at the note. Okay. What is this? Oh shit. I wasn't ready to go wherever this is taking me. Oh, here. Cool. An imposing combination of a punch clock and payphone is looking down at you from the wall. A note on the side says tokens unavailable due to strike. Use change. We can try it. The machine swallows your coin and seems to be waiting for your next move. Check your muscle memory. Dial a random number. It's unclear whether you actually have muscle memory. Right now your finger's just drawing vaguely occult patterns in the air. Useful patterns? Undoubtedly no. I might try this again later. Sure, why not? The radio is emitting strange buzzing sounds I can hear. A giant ass print on the pillow and a pattern of coffee rings on the armrest. Nice. Alright, well, I'm gonna stop there for now and go get lunch. But thank you for watching, and I will be back shortly with more Disco.